Hello, beautiful angels. Today has been all about the mother. It's just amazing. And I was just working, and then this song came on, and I looked. Of course, it's Karen Drucker who will be with us in Bodega Bay on June 20th for the solstice. And I have never heard that song before. And so it's pretty exciting. The mother, truly, even on the call before, she really has been with us. Now, what is the mother? She can take on so many different forms. She can manifest in her physicality. She can show herself with a face, but also she can reveal herself in animals and trees and plants, even in insect. And of course, she reveals herself in our physical bodies. Now, when I got to know the mother, I really got to know her only after 2017. And that, it's like, how is that even possible? Where was she? Mother, where have you been? And so, as I have been learning from her directly in so many different stages of self realization, then I realized the mother has always been within us. And of course, all around us. And that, I first thought she was just playing hide and seek by being hidden in all of nature, by speaking to us through nature. And how, when we got rid of nature in so many ways, right, in this patriarchal society, that when we got rid of those trees, when we got rid of the purity of nature, we also were getting rid of the mother. And I realized also that she was inside of us and actually in our physical bodies. And I started to have memories of my childhood when she was still awake inside of my body. And all of you, all of us, she was awake in us in the bodies. And so I also learned from her that she used to be fully ignited in the bodies of us when we were children. And it was mainly because our channels were still open, the channels through which she runs, the nervous system, and all within the physicality, all, what we call meridians, acupuncture points, all the systems, all the chakras, when we were not burdened yet. We were magnetic children. There's a lot of stuff going on with children in this world and has been happening forever, right? Why is it? Because they run this amazing life force, and they should be therefore considered saints. They come with this amazing life force, and we all should be remembering how to be more ignited like the kids. And so the mother is what we today label Kundalini, and so much more. But that's just one aspect of her that is pure life force. And that's why I always say, calling it dormant Kundalini, that's so silly, because we want to have awakened mother inside of us. And to have the mother awaken inside of us, what does it create? It creates magic. What type of magic? It creates the rainbow body. The rainbow body was our original nature. We used to be beings of rainbow light. All of us. All of us on this planet who came with those open hearts at the beginning of all things, the ones who have been part of this creation, the beings of love. And the rainbow light is just as a result of our openness to the mother, openness to cosmos. When it all works properly, we have rainbow light around us. As you can imagine, we go from children where we have so much fun, life is so great, hopefully, and then again, it starts freezing, and it's the mind that starts freezing our life force. As kids, we didn't have the mind, and in this world, we think the mind is completely normal. That must be it. That's how we should all think. We all should think all the time about this and that, all the time, constant, actually, just relationship with reality. The mind is very unnatural the way we have got used to it. So to be able to be present in the eternal moment, which it is eternity, to be timeless, to be beyond time, we have to be mindless. We have to be a playful child again, to be able to just be and be moved by the mother. because she's the movement within us. She was supposed to be moving within us. That's why such important aspect of the mother is actually in the body, the movement. Yes, there's stillness, but actually the stillness, it's so funny. It's stillness and movement. It's both. It's the emptiness and fullness. It's nothingness and everythingness. All these amazing dichotomies of the mother. And she was meant to move us through love, and move us through joy, and move us through bliss. She was supposed to just be the ecstasy within us without anything else being needed. So she was that ecstatic goddess in our bodies. And so we were really filled with her as children. And then later, the mind happens. The mind, as you know, actually was part of the infiltration that happened on planet Earth. And so it is very important to know that the mother is energy, and that when we don't feel energy in our bodies, we are blocked by the mind and all the different repercussions that the mind actually has. People call it the mind matrix, and I think that's very appropriate. So, when we have to get again into meditation just to get back to the state of beingness, that's what meditation leads back to, the openness to life force, actually, so that it can just flow through us, flow from the planet, flow through cosmos without the thinking, without the analyzing, without the planning, without the comparing. Because all of it is what the mind does. The mind to me is very artificial. If, like, when I started to see into the human mind, it reminded me of a recycling machine. It reminded me of, like, when you put your thing into your washer and you see it tumble. And to me, it was like a lot of dirty laundry just tumbling around. And now and again, you pick up a piece and you get so busy with it. And that is the mind. But it didn't have an openness. And it doesn't mean like open mind. Open mind at the level of the third dimension is still a dysfunctional mind. Yes, it's wonderful that it's open, but it's still recycling. However, the divine mind is not at all an open system. I'm sorry, it's not at all a closed system. It's not at all a recycling system. The divine mind is the unlimited mind, and it doesn't exist in the third dimension unless the being is completely ascended and free through the body in this world. I will speak about that as well, what that means. So, this mind that suddenly interfered with our beingness shut down slowly and surely also our life force and our ability to feel life. And then, of course, we developed a lot of, let's call it crutches to feel something. And for many people, that would be sexuality. For this world, of course, sex was taken to like the next level. Just to feel energy. Because, of course, the mother is very ecstatic. And you could say that the mother is the energy of orgasm, but not the way that we experience it now. It is so much more her natural state of being all the time. So it's not limited to that one experience. It's actually a way of being, because it actually is a vibration that moves through the body, and she moves through the body all the time that way. So that was our original state of being when she was alive in us. And so the other way that, of course, humanity find ways to cope with the lack of feeling energy was, all the different substance abuse and all of it, just seeking some kind of feeling of energy and shutting the mind down, having a little break from this artificial mind that was truly keeping us trapped away from our feeling. But I don't mean feeling as an emotion. I mean so much more feeling aliveness. Feeling alive for life. Feeling ignited. Feeling blissful. Feeling ecstatic. That is our true nature. And not limited to any body part. Actually beyond the body, even though in the body. That's also really important because, of course, I mentioned a little bit of the story of the fall and how the body had to fall, how the body became degraded to what it is really today, even though we are ascending and we are rewiring everything. But for example, as you know, the body became an object of lust, and then people would rely on the body to be turned on instead of being always turned on by life. And maybe that seems like too much to you, like maybe you you don't want to walk through this world feeling turned on, but turned on means being your divine self and nothing to do with sexuality, of course. That is our original state of being. And I truly believe that a lot of mystics, when they were on this path of self realization, they got to this place of constant orgasmic energy running through them. And of course, they were celibate, like Yogananda, for example, but they were also a lot of Christian mystics. Wasn't it like Saint Teresa and her ecstasy? She was feeling ecstatic bliss all the time. That's right. Just being with life. Now, the fabulous thing, of course, is that when you go to pure nature, she is all this ecstatic energy around us, below us, above us. And so, again, this people call it archons, but that's kind of too much of a nice name for these beings who have been really manipulating this reality. I don't even want to call it archons because that doesn't sound, even intense enough. So let's say these nefarious, selfish, greedy beings who have been manipulating our reality for a very long time, they wanted to actually get rid of nature. They wanted us to have dirty air by design. They wanted us to have dirty waters by design. They wanted us to have no relationship with nature because really that would be the only danger in this world. And I mean danger in a good way. That would take us away from the thinking self that was trapped. So you see, the movement was really against the mother because she is the body of this earth. And so you see how they led us very systematically away from the mother. Who needs nature? We're going to build cities with no nature. Who needs education about nature? Let's build schools with no nature. Let's all stop moving and just sit down for 8 hours a day. And let's educate each other about nonsensical things that don't matter. That's exactly what happened in this world. Let's all get sick, actually, because sickness is great, because then we will be even more trapped in the matrix, because we will no longer thrive. We will not be able to feel the energy, so the mother definitely will not be in this world. And so on and so on. You can see it in everything and everywhere. It was actually a very deliberate process of disconnecting humanity from that true nature, which is bliss, ecstasy, freedom, thriving, intelligence. True intelligence. True intelligence is not actually intellectual. So people read a lot, nice intellect, they can count a lot of things, and that is intellect. Divine Mother is actually pure intelligence. And her intelligence is giving freely to all by contemplating in nature. When we are able to go to nature and we are like a sponge, as long as we are a sponge, because some people come with a lot of crusty energy. And so when there's a crust around us, it's very hard to go and be a sponge. One day I was walking in the redwoods. We have some beautiful redwoods here, close to the Pacific Ocean. And I was walking there. I used to walk there every single morning. And the redwoods started speaking to me. And they told me, I was like the only person. I used to go really early in the morning when there was no one there. And they said, well, here you are, and you are a thinking person. You come here and you thinking. We used to have people here like humans who would come here to be, and now it's just thinking people, and you are one of them. And I felt like, oh man, I am a thinking person. And so now it's time to be a sponge again, and when we enter the temples of nature, to be a being instead of a thinking person. And so, the thinking was creating this static. Now, this goes deep. The revelations about all of this goes so deep. So, I don't know if I can verbalize it all, but I'll try. We are beings of an electromagnetic field. And actually, the 8.5 billion of us probably look like this lady here on the left. Really kind of like shriveled prune. But we all were meant to be those juicy apples that you see here on the right. That is our electromagnetic field. This electromagnetic field is absolutely essential to who we are. And so, again, the forces in this world that were manipulating humanity, not only did they manipulate the electromagnetic field of the earth, but also individually, all of us. And how? Well, number one, of course, we have electromagnetic frequencies here in this world. We are like completely bathed in them. And some people might think it's a conspiracy theory, but actually, it has very much everything to do with our consciousness. When we have a depleted electromagnetic field, we lose freedom and we don't even know it. It's very invisible. If it was visible, we would probably fight against it, but it's invisible, so it seems like it's not a big deal. But I want to tell you that it's a big deal. The entire process of doing Kriya Yoga with Yogananda, for example, is all about magnetizing your spine. And that's what we do here. When we do our breathing through the spine, we are magnetizing our spine. That is actually a huge secret being revealed here. When beings are not in their coherent, complete, free internal magnetism, they are extremely susceptible to all the other frequencies. And it could be frequencies that are not always or ever natural. You could think of even negative thought, depression, low state of being, suffering, pain as frequencies that actually are not natural. But if a person is not fully magnetized through within, then they simply receive what is out there. The purpose of self-realization is actually also a very physical transformation by magnetizing yourself from within, which is a lot of different things, and then having your sovereign light body. When a person has sovereign light body, which is created also through the electromagnetic field, they are so-called protected. This is the one and only protection I know. I haven't seen anything else being able to truly protect us from those lower programs. When Yogananda was asked, how do you protect yourself from demons? How do you protect yourself from entities? How do you protect yourself from these frequencies? He also called it vibrations and frequencies. He said, the only thing that works is when you are massively in love with the divine, massively in love with Divine Mother. massively in love with Divine Father. So he was saying that love, when it is fully experienced as energy, not as a thought, because love has also become a thought, we want the energy of love, the unbelievable ecstatic love. And it can be love for your loved ones, but the next level of all of this is the love for life as the mother. And then when we are in the state of love, we are unbelievably magnetic. And our magnetism emanates from us. And when it emanates from us, just through our nature of love, it creates this beautiful electromagnetic field. So that is the key. That's why we breathe through the spine. That's why we breathe through the pranayama exercises we do. That's why we meditate. That's why we eat healthy. That's why we walk in nature. That's why we meditate in nature. That's why we swim in waters. That's why we want to live surrounded by nature, because nature actually also has this amazing electromagnetic emanation. She emanates, she communicates with us. She is sending us constantly her emanation because, she's everywhere, hopefully around you if she is, and including the sun, of course. So the alchemy of the human being is the alchemy through the physical body and then into divinity. Our physical body is absolutely essential to our divinity in this world, which means within us are channels, within us are also certain centers, we call them chakras, and these all need to be able to emanate the light of the divine self. This is the time of this transformation, spirit into form. Spirit into form. That's why we are becoming divine human beings. So, knowing all of this, I always find the easiest way to be is to be in love with life. And sometimes it seems difficult because of the conditions we have in our life, but there's always a way. And there's always a way when you go outside and let's say you just focus on that which is nature, which is beautiful, and you just sit with the tree and you sit with the mother as our Maravati, planet Earth, in her ascension process. You sit with a beautiful flower. You look at all the beautiful creatures around us, and that touches us. And when it touches us, we become transformed. And we have so many wonderful stories about all the yogis and mystics who became enlightened in nature, under a tree, very often, right? So her beauty was supposed to keep our hearts open. Now, just again, some personal stories to tell because I think that, it's all we supposed to be the messengers for each other. And so I experienced the solar flash several times since 2020. And I would get struck by the solar light and it would come into my being through the spine and then through the brain. And of course, the next day, you are not the same. And it's just wonderful. Like I study these changes within myself, what it does, how it transforms us and how this will happen through all of us. But one thing I got to experience ascension. And I know many people in this world have these experiences where we have already ascended. And it's as if you go into the future, because it's very difficult to explain the time and space realities in these higher realms. But so you ascend, basically, you experience your own ascension, and you can experience also a collective ascension. You can get to see what it's going to be like. Then you end up on the new earth. You get to walk around, talk and to the beings who live there, which is the divine human beings. And then you get to come back as if you're coming back in time, but you land back in this world right now. But now you've experienced ascension. And so you get to actually now carry within you, in your energetic field, all the information that you brought with you. And that's pretty incredible for, so many people that it happened to, because there's many of us, and there were people who experienced this even many, many years before. And so, it's these different waves of when it's happening. But one thing that I actually noticed when I was on the New Earth several times is that all beings have completely perfect rainbow bodies. They all have perfect emanation of that electromagnetic field. And then I saw what it allows them to experience. They are all internally completely free. And free is not even, like there are invocations that go like, I am ascended and free. It is, I don't know, for me, it was like, it's much more than that. It means nothing gets to interfere with the love that you are. Nothing gets into your field except for the love of the nature that is being emanated into the field. Nothing else. There's absolutely no interference from anything else. There's only love that we are. We become again beings of all love. And then as we move, as we talk, as we exchange, and we feel everything as oneness with all things, nature is constantly giving us information, and we feel her in the body. We feel her energy. We feel her intelligence. We feel her intention. So we get to constantly feel physically into the consciousness. And as we feel it, it's always great. It's always amazing. And there's always motion towards more. And she's always evolving us through satisfaction into more satisfaction. And I mean like divine satisfaction, because she is so satisfied that we all can feel her again. And then she gets to play through us in this way. So again, it's the world of the mother. So that's pretty incredible. Since, we are all accustomed to the lower human mind, that will cease to exist with this rewiring through the solar energy, the baptism by sacred fire. Because the lower human mind that developed sometime in our, I don't want to call it early childhood, because early childhood was great. I always wonder when exactly we first started to feel the infiltration. But I think it happens once they put us in schools where we just sit, and they tell us not to move. Because once you stop moving, you also stop feeling life force, because now you are forced into an unnatural state of being. The sitting down is a bit of a problem, of course, because for children, that is the most unnatural thing to do, because the movement is the mother. And it's not that we should all be like just crazily running around all the time, but she also can be very subtle. She also will want us to sit down when the time is right to sit down, but definitely not this way that it happened. And so, we kind of disown the mother when that happens. So it's important to know all these things, because she's back and she will be inviting humanity to go back to nature in the most advanced way. She will be inviting humanity to remember who she is through nature. She will be speaking to all of us, giving us all that we need through nature. She's like the true internet that connects us all, because not only is she on this planet, she is on in all worlds, all at once. She is the web of life. And because she is the web of life in all things, she is the interconnectedness, then it's really like the cosmic internet. And she is calling so strong. Come my way. Come into nature. Do your pranayama. Put your feet on the ground. So many things, right? When you think about it. the materials used in this world that also were plastic and artificial and disconnected us from nature. And all that happened, our diets, all of it, it's huge, but it's good to like listen to her. What does she want? What did she say? Did I hear her correctly? Did she say that, I should just have an apple today and maybe not a cow? Things like that. So, listening to her by restoring intuition and now making a big difference between my thoughts, think that I'm hearing the mother, or is it she moves through me? I feel now ignited, inspired, motivated. That is her. The thoughts are very smart, right? Smart, maybe. They are very clever, always trying to trick us into just thinking. And that's why we meditate, so that we can feel the mother again. And actually, so when I met Divine Mother, it was many years of working with her every single day. And then one day she revealed the Father, the true Father, not the religious guy, but the true Father. And I was so blown away because the mystics said it would happen. They always say the mother points at the Father. And so when she's done with us, when she says, now I'm going to show you the Shiva consciousness, or any other form of the Father, of course. And she takes us to the Father. And so that's pretty much what's happening here. We are opening up to just our divine parents, to be restored and to be able just to to play along. you know it's really great. And so my recommendations from all that I learned from her is, take care of your electromagnetic field. But know that there is a shortcut. The shortcut is spend a lot of time in nature and fall in love with her. And that's about it. And the rest kind of it just anyway happens. Because once we are informed by her, she will guide every single one of us to whatever is the best, how we can be whole again. So this wholeness then, right? We become so magnetic that we start magnetizing to us these higher aspects of our being that then become available to us into the body, into the body, into the body. But we are no longer the body. The magnetizing of your spine is absolutely essential. Every day, always centering yourself in the spine. I always think I discovered this kind of accidentally. And that was, Kriya Yoga is focusing in the spine, doing your breathing through the spine. And there are many different teachers around the world who teach it in different ways. Even Sadhguru with his inner engineering, that's very similar to Kriya Yoga. Microcosmic orbit in Taoism, Mantak Chia, Lee Holden, for example, and of course many other teachers. It's the same thing. It's simply being able to run very high cosmic and planetary energies through your central nervous system. So the way that I discovered this accidentally, I had no idea even that this could happen, is just simply laying on my back in the middle of the night. As this ascension process really accelerated in 2020, I just couldn't sleep. And so I didn't want to do anything, but I just wanted to lay in bed at night and didn't want to wake people up. So I just thought, okay, I'll just breathe through the spine. And so I laid there breathing through the spine, breathing through the spine, breathing through the spine. And then one day Yogananda appeared in the middle of the night. And he said, well, just internally, make the sound of hum as you breathe up the spine, and then sa as you exhale back down. And so I thought, okay, hamsa. So I started doing hamsa, just internally. Hum up the spine to the crown, sa down the spine. And it kind of became, like a thing to do instead of thinking about things, just doing hamsa. And so this led to a state of consciousness where all life force suddenly was like pulled into the spine and nothing else existed. And that's obviously the goal of Kriya Yoga, to withdraw all life force from your senses. And imagine if you suddenly didn't have any senses in this world. Would the world still exist or would it disappear? And I realized that when all the senses are turned off, then there is nothing to be perceived in this world. And that, of course, leads to the next realization. What's real? And of course, through this practice, you will discover many of the dimensions of that which is much more real. So that is pretty much this technique of breathing through the spine that takes us eventually to our divine self. So today we were going to speak about asking and receiving, and all of this is really important to know that you now have the incredible option, possibility, and ability to go into your divine self through the pillar of light that in the physical is the spine, and in the non-physical is still your multidimensional spine. And we will definitely do the breathing. So the way I think about it is that you and me, by living in this world, which became such a thinking world, we put a lot of umbrellas above the head, and then another umbrella above it, and another one, another one, another one, another one. And then the light of the divine self wants to shine upon us, and it's shining. For sure, it is shining. And yet it cannot get to us. And so we have to remove all the umbrellas. It's a lot of work, but there is a shortcut. There is a shortcut. And the shortcut is explosive nuclear love. That's the best way I can describe it. When the being down here reaches a state of massive love, it can be for a reason, for no reason, but if it creates such a huge nuclear explosion within us in the most wonderful way, it blasts all that it's in the way. That's why love is the key. And if we can generate this massive love, which is a very unusual state of being for us because we became kind of dormant too. So, but if we can generate this ecstatic, blissful, all-encompassing love, it's possible. And then it blasts everything and everything goes out of the way. And actually then we experience instantaneous enlightenment. We experience the instantaneous download of the divine self. And that's what creates the sensation of having what people call Shiva and Shakti dancing in us, through us, within us, and also as if they reunited within us. So generate this love within yourself. I just heard that, for example, there are African tribes of the Bushmen who actually use this power of this nuclear explosive love to connect to God. And that made so much sense to me, because if you can generate this incredible love, and the way they do it, they really go deep into their hearts to feel the love they have for their grandparents. And that's exactly how it worked for me. For example, I was going into the love I really felt for my grandparents. I was like so in love with my grandparents. I grew up with them mainly, and I was just missing them. And then this nuclear explosion happened. And so if you have someone and something, yes, yes, thank you, Christy. That's what I mean, like the nucleus. Yes. Thank you. The explosion of light, that's right. Nothing destructive. But it blasts us open and it connects us to the divine self. And then suddenly the divine self simply downloads itself. It downloads the aspect of the mother. It downloads the aspect of the father. And it just falls all into our lap. Again, I think it's just laws of physics, no like divine grace or anything, even though it is so unbelievably graceful when this happens. And so focus on that, love. So how do we go into the divine self when we remove all the umbrellas? Because they have to be removed somehow, right? We can use many different techniques, whatever works for you. You know, Yogananda recommended the living fire of God. We work with Patricia with the violet flame. You just have to see what works for you to actually see a big difference, because it actually is the biggest difference when those layers upon layers upon layers are all gone. All of the layers between us and the divine self are created by the mind. And so it's good to be nothing, the hollow bone. In Native American traditions, right, they always say, be a hollow bone to be able to receive this. And so that's what it is, you know, to be able to receive all the way down to our bone marrow. There are practices in Qigong where you want to receive the light of your divine self into the bone marrow, to be illuminated at the physical level by the divine self. And this is again ascension through the body. So once you are in the elevator, which you see it's an elevator to your own divine self, and you are a hollow bone, you are nothing but love, which is an interesting combination, nothing but love. Nothing but the joyful, playful, innocent, free, liberated, unburdened, pure, childlike you. Then you rise through the elevator of your spine into the divine self, and you come into the land of splendor. You come into the land of infinite bounty. You come into the land of infinite possibilities. All is here. And this is where creation can be downloaded into this world through you. So you are the solution bringer. It can be something personal, it can be something collective. And just again, to give an example of Yogananda, when he ended up in the land of splendor, he looked around and he said, oh my gosh, now everything can be added onto you. Everything. So what do you choose through love? This is where we choose through love, not through need, not through want, and not through desire. We choose through love. It's the key. This is how the process works, you know? So these days when you go to a store, you usually need to have a credit card to buy something. Okay, so you give them your credit card, they give you stuff. With the divine self, the currency is your love. This is very important. Pure love, pure mind. That's the currency that actually buys you something. So let's say you end up like Yogananda in the world of splendor, and he looked around and he said, I choose all that is needed for the divine work that I do in this world, for Divine Mother and for Divine Father. I choose divine consciousness. He was choosing divine consciousness. Just divine consciousness, that's all he wanted. He said, oh yeah, who cares about this world down here? And there will be challenges, there will be this and that. I will take care of things, but I want to handle it all with divine consciousness. And then he said, the other thing that I'm choosing here is be thou with me always. Again, because he didn't want to lose the connection. But don't feel bad if you're going up to get a little bit of abundance, or if you get up and you say, you know, I'm choosing well-being. Well-being is an amazing expression of the divine self, because the divine self is always well, always. The divine self has never been unwell, and it is you, because you are in truth not the person down here, but you are the one who actually originated in the divine self, descended down, and now was birthed into this world to represent your divine self and to be the divine self. in form. So how wonderful it is. Total surrender. So, I'm just going to speak in general. Many people in this world experience not having enough of something. And so they would say, "Oh, God, I pray to you, please give me, $17 billion. I really need money. God, I'm sick. I really need health. Give me health. God, I don't have a relationship. Please send me a loved one." Um, and so on and so on. Did it work? Mainly, it did not work because people were coming from neediness and disconnect from all that already is within the divine self. However, many of our ancient people and native people knew how this works. And so, how did they do it? With playful, grateful, open heart, they would enter the divine self. And let's say they would need rain, right, for bountiful harvest. And so they would go into the divine self and they would see rain within the divine self because it already exists. And so they would be just so grateful. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for this rain. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. I'm choosing rain. And they would download the rain with gratitude because it already exists within the divine self. And there was no like begging, there was no like, oh no, we don't have it. It was just going to get it and thanking for it and then taking it down with you. So there, that's the slight difference. The other thing is, of course, we live in a monetary system. The monetary system was introduced into this world also through the forces that wanted us to be their puppets, to be disconnected from the divine self, to stop creating, to forget that we are creator beings, and instead to start buying stuff, to owe, not to have enough, to always have to work so that we can have more, to become greedy, and so on and so on. So actually, there was a force behind all of this, not in this world, but again, the interdimensional forces. Money doesn't exist within the divine self. So asking for money, which most people do, is actually not going to be very effective. And why is it that money doesn't exist in the divine self? It's because the divine self actually is without the currency that we have in this world, all of them, including the crypto. The divine self is a creator. And so the divine self, if it wanted to create something, right, through you in this world, it is created through the divine mind. The divine mind uses energy, vibration, and consciousness to create. And so then it is brought down into form, and you are the one who brings it into form, not by having to pay for it. You actually, and you and me, we are all going to learn how to do this directly instead of having some kind of intermediary where we buy stuff. Eventually, humanity will be in this incredible state of creation like we used to be. You simply have divine inspiration, and you are constantly in the process of downloading solutions, even when there are no problems from your divine self. And eventually, no problems at all, just solutions within the divine self, but choosing them. So it's like playing a little bit. In a way, it's like playing with Lego, and you have all the different pieces of the Lego and you get to build something. And so that's how the divine self works. You get the pieces, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, and then through you, creation happens, and you can constantly improve upon it, not because it's bad, but because it's fun to beautify. I think many of us love beautification, and I don't mean physical, but I mean like making, for example, your home to be a temple, creating beautiful landscapes. When we create these earth altars, the spirals, we make them beautiful because there is great soul and spirit joy in the beautification. So when, let's say, there is something in your life that you really choose, to create, then you cannot think about how much does it cost and the money part, because that is the lower human ego that was actually created by these other forces. We have to go into our creation mode. I am choosing this which is on the shelf in the infinite store of perfection within my divine self. It is infinitely perfect, and the options are also infinite, and all of them are perfect because only perfection exists within the divine self. The future so-called economy on this planet will actually be just gifting, constant gifting, not exchanging, not having to keep track of like how big, how small, who and what. It will be spontaneous gifting. Whenever the mother moves through us, and she will move through us, and she will give us the inspiration in spirit to actually gift each other, whatever it is. And there will be no value attached to anything in terms of more or less. She told me this very, very specifically. I always think, why would she tell me these things if this was not our next logical step? Yeah, exactly. Kmart shoppers, I love it. So let's play with this, you know? So we can all get into the state where, let's say, a child would enter the eternal toy shop within the divine self, where all toys are wonderful, perfect, and fun. They are infinite on infinite shelves, and the child gets to choose and play, choose and play. And so this is now asking and receiving. It is not begging. It is not a monetary limitation. Now it's time to free our mind from all that limited us. All that was not of nature or divine nature will dissolve. And what will remain is all that we speak about in the most wonderful and wondrous, miraculous ways. And that is our true nature. So this dimension of the new earth already exists. As you go to your divine self, you can also say, hey, divine self, I would love to experience the new earth. I would love it. I'm not begging, I'm not needy. I'm just like, hey, I would love it. And the divine self responds to things like, I would love it, with no baggage. If there is baggage, it's like being, you know, a balloon. You rise into your divine self, but if you have baggage, the balloon will be pulled down. So we don't want to be pulled down by the baggage. We want to constantly just rise and stay in elevated consciousness and then channel that down to the human being. The key is to constantly be aware of yourself in this big structure. We are just getting used to something new. This is the new. This is the new you. And so I hope this is helpful, that it makes sense, and that it allows us to play a little bit, realizing there is a big difference between the mind that we had, which was so limited, because now we're going into the unlimited mind, constantly unlimited mind. I'm testing it out on my family, and I think it's so wonderful because you cannot lower your standards to be the lower human self who talks about problems and where is the solution. I don't know how to solve these things. When I say, oh, just go to your divine self. Yeah, connect with your divine self. Why waste your time talking about things when you can just be one with your divine self? Download the solution. Here is your solution. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So today, here is June 13th, and it's a Thursday. Tomorrow is a Friday, so tomorrow will be our last day of this lunar cycle for many different reasons, even though it's not full moon. But we have a lot going on. And one of the things that we have going on is this Saturday, we will be doing a free online retreat for all of you who joined the 6-day intensive Increasing Your Inner Light with Oren. Now, I hope it doesn't feel like I'm excluding someone. The thing is that, as you might know, we received the permission from Oren and Daben from the foundation to work with the teachings and transmissions of Oren in a way that when we gather, we list all our students through the foundation so they see all of us. Everybody has to have the course. And then if you have the course, obviously, which means you participated in our last 6-day intensive, I will then keep infinitely, as long as I'm here in this body and technology exists, offering regular online meetings for all of us so that we can keep I want to say increasing our inner light. So I will not be recording it. I don't, everybody who has the course has the course. And so, it will be regular. I'm going to do I will try to do once a month. But we have the opportunity to work with Oren now, not with all the courses, but some of them. And I received instructions a few nights ago. And truly, it was amazing. And so I was shown something that I already felt was coming anyway. And that was that our next step is to accelerate our evolution. Now, again, it's a course, but please, if you don't have it, don't go to Oren and Daben and don't buy it from them. They ask that we keep it a little bit more organized because they felt a little overwhelmed last time. Just register on our website, greentarot.guru. There are the 2 different options, whether you have the course or not. And then we will again meet online for 6 days in July. I structured it around July 4th because I'm not much of a person who celebrates national holidays, because obviously the divine self doesn't have national holidays. But it's great that many of us don't have to go to work. And so again, it's a weekend and the holidays, and that would allow us to meet for 6 days to work with accelerating your evolution. So you can look on greentarot.guru under courses or events. It's posted there today. And again, if you can just go through our website so that, eventually this will be streamlined. Right now, this is very new. And so all is there. But again, I'll just keep everyone informed through emails. And so I look forward to being with you tomorrow, which is June 14th, Friday, and we will conclude this lunar cycle. And who knows what will happen tonight? I always say that because you never know. We might experience the greatest things, and then tomorrow we will have a lot of new knowledge. But for now, this knowledge is all about the divine self and how to connect every day through pranayama, through your breath. And so let us simply close by either sitting upright, standing upright, laying down flat on your back, becoming aware of your amazing spine, as if you had a flute within you, the central channel. And think of it exactly like a flute. What would it be like to be inside the flute, to be able to play the music of your divine self? And just like a flute has those little holes, those are, in our system, the chakras. And to be able to play the music of the divine self, the flute has to be completely empty. And so that's how we become the hollow bone, to be able to play the music of the divine self, to download it from the divine self. And just breathe deeply for a few moments. This is going to be very beneficial to your day, to your night. And start perceiving yourself as that multidimensional structure with the spine extending all the way up beyond the soul plane into the plane of the spirit, the divine self. where you as your divine self are a radiant sun. And feel the energy of the radiant sun coming down through your multidimensional spine into your being, into the body, and expressing itself through you. And so this is the movement of the breath. We move through the spine up into the divine self through our inhale in. We reach the sun and then exhale down, bringing the light of the divine down into the body. And an advanced yogic technique is to do this and internally feel that your breath is making a sound. And the sound is hum, sa, hum, sa. And so the hum is the inhale all the way up to the divine self. And then sa is the exhale down through the spine. And then we always want to center ourselves in the love of our beautiful hearts, to emanate the most perfect electromagnetic field into all directions and stay a juicy apple. And so thank you so much again. The replays are being posted on YouTube. And today we will have 2 replays because they were quite different, the 2 calls. So I will post those tonight. So many blessings and see you tomorrow.